The economy got canceled. Yeah, for this year. Tomorrow's SpaceX Day. Yeah, many of you might not know this. My cousin works for SpaceX. He was one of the guys that worked on the launch pad for the Saturn V rocket. SpaceX bought that, and his job was to refurbish it and get it ready for the Falcon 9 Heavy and Starship and all these other large scale rocket programs that they have. SpaceX is probably one of the most remarkable companies I've ever seen. They started from such a simple premise that, hey, technology's gotten a lot better. Why are we still doing things the way we did things in the 1970s and 80s? Let's just apply modern stuff. And first, let's come up with a plan to make space travel significantly cheaper and reusable. Okay. But then they built this cult of ideology around this concept of making humanity multiplanetary. And so what they were able to do was leverage these two components together to convince super brilliant people to join the company at a significantly lower salary band than they would get at Boeing or Northrop Grumman or any of these other companies. Many of you may know that I went to CU Boulder. And when I was at CU Boulder, SpaceX was very aggressively recruiting from CU Boulder. Now, my university famous for astronauts. I think we had like 19 astronauts go to CU Boulder. It's a great aerospace school, great aerospace engineering. So all the time, the recruiters from Boeing and all these other places would always be trolling the halls, and the students never wanted to talk to them. Boeing come and be like, "We'll pay you $200K a year," and SpaceX would be like, "We'll give you $45K, and you'll have like 3 layers of cubicles stacked on, and you'll work 900 hours a week." And they're like, "Yeah, man, SpaceX, it's the way to go." And if you ever visit their facility in California, it actually really does feel a lot like NASA in the 1960s when they were building their way up to the moon landing. They're just all young. They're super passionate. They're super excited. And they legitimately believe that this is the vehicle that will get humanity to Mars. And honestly, if the economics continue working out the way that they do, SpaceX will probably accomplish that by 2030. It's a remarkable thought. It really is, given that we weren't even in the top 10 for manufacturing of rocket engines in the United States when SpaceX was founded. Now we're the number 1 manufacturer in the world, and we have the best rockets and the cheapest rockets and the most efficient rockets with the best technology to get into space as a consequence of this one company. And it's fundamentally changed the entire procurement model and the ratings model. ULA got their asses kicked, absolutely asses kicked by SpaceX, to a point where they went from the most reliable vendor to the least reliable vendor. And then the other thing is that SpaceX has the ability to take risk. NASA doesn't anymore. They had the rocket just blow up, I think yesterday or today, I can't remember, the Starship. They don't care. They'll just build another one. Remember, these Falcon rockets used to blow up too, and they picked them up off the beaches. And they just fix it, go on to the next one. And that was how NASA used to operate. They said, look, attrition happens, problems happen, exploration is risky. Look at the people who tried to go through the Northwest Passage. Some of them succumbed to cannibalism. It's probably a worse way to go than blowing up on a rocket. So we'll roll the dice. We'll take the chance. People are willing to do it for the greater good. Let's push it. Let's push it to the wall. Get people inspired again. That's their culture, and it's really forced humanity into a new level. So I have a huge amount of admiration for SpaceX, and I think it's one of Elon's better ventures. Tesla's certainly another one, but Jesus Christ, SpaceX is just a special company. And that launch tomorrow, if it's successful, will be the dawn of a new era for human space travel. And suddenly things like the moon and things like Mars will no longer look so far away. They'll feel like inevitabilities. I remember my dad and my grandfather, they grew up in a time where there was an inevitability about it. When Kennedy said we're going to go to the moon before the end of the decade, people believed him. And when Bush said it, no one believed him. And when Obama said it, nobody believed him. And when Trump said it, nobody believed him. So there's a cynicism and skepticism in these projections. But when Musk says it, I kind of believe him. So we're getting that back. We're getting that magic back. And that's what you need to be successful. If you're an entrepreneur, a young entrepreneur, the first thing you have to achieve is belief in your own vision, no matter how crazy it is, belief in yourself. And the second thing you have to achieve is to be so delusional that you can convince other people around you that your vision is real and you actually can achieve it. It's a pretty crazy thing to do anything new, especially when there's a high probability of failure, greater than 90%. And that's what Musk did, and that's what SpaceX did. And they did it at such a scale and level. They even convinced NASA and the US government that they could be the horse to ride on. And if they pull this off, then everybody will pretend like it was self-evident and obvious, and this is just a way to do things. Before they were founded, it was not. So it's an amazing thing. Yes, I have met Musk, Youssef. He used to come see Boulder a lot. His brother actually owns a restaurant. Kimball Musk owns a restaurant in Boulder called The Kitchen. So occasionally you'll see his brother, in some cases still cooking. Brother's a billionaire and he's a chef, and he'll actually cook and talk to people. So Musk does come out here a lot. Flies his jet. He has this beautiful Dassault Falcon. I don't know if he still has that one or if he upgraded to a Gulfstream or not. But he'd fly it to Rocky Mountain Airport, going up to see Boulder, recruit some kids, do a presentation, and then go eat with his brother. He's a super nice guy, very introverted. That selfie with Musk and I, that was when I was at CU Boulder, and I was still a student there at the time.